The question is to Windows or to Linux. Why settle for one when you can have both? You may prefer the ease of use that Windows has or the flexibility that Linux offers. It does not matter because you will be able to use both. Now, in this scenario, we will be installing Linux on a system that has Windows. They will both be sharing the same storage device. And don't worry, we will discuss things as we go. So if you've been planning on installing Ubuntu alongside Windows on the same device, this is the video for you. Okay, now in our Windows computer, what we want to do is we want to grab a USB and insert it into our computer. What's going to happen is we're going to create a Ubuntu image that we're going to use to load Ubuntu alongside Windows. So you already have your Windows computer, but we are also going to install Linux so you can decide to boot to either system, whichever you prefer. So let's make sure our USB is there. And I see mine is drive E. Now we're going to go into our browser. We're going to go into google.com. First, let's download Ubuntu. We click ubuntu.com on Google. Okay, and in ubuntu.com, we're going to check on products, click on products, then Ubuntu desktop, and then download Ubuntu desktop. You're going to see this long-term support version here. And you're going to click here on download, and this is going to download the image. And while the image is being downloaded, what we want to do is we want to download as well Balena Etcher. So we go to google.com. Okay, we're going to type Balena Etcher, and then you're going to see etcher.balena.io. So the website is going to open, and you can see there download Etcher, and you're going to see the different systems. I want to do Windows 64 for mine, so I'm going to download, and you'll see there it's downloading. It's a fairly small file, so it'll be quick. Okay, now with your files downloaded, we want to go to Balena Etcher, right? Okay, now we flash from file and we want to do Ubuntu. We want to select our target drive, which for me is going to be drive E, and I recognize this brand as the USB. I'm going to select that, and now it says flash. Then you click yes. Okay, so we have a flash completed on our USB. So we're just going to X and then remove our USB. Okay, so we just created our Ubuntu USB. And this is quite important if we want to install Ubuntu on this computer. And I have my computer right here. So we're going to be accessing it right now. So we are in our computer that we want to install dual boot. First things first, we want to go to the computer and we want to go to create and format hard disk partitions. This is an important step because we're going to open up the drive to be able to have an allocated partition for Ubuntu to use so we can install it there. Right now we can see the entire drive is in use. You can see here the blue section, and I don't care about this one because this one is too slow. So what we want to do is shrink this volume. So I want like 300, close to 400 gigabytes. So I want to do 400,000. I'm just choosing whatever number. Okay, so we have 390.63 gigabytes of unallocated space. Perfect. That's what we want. So we're going to leave it at that. We're going to exit. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn off our computer. Okay, once our computer is off, we're going to turn it on. And I want to go into my BIOS. On your boot section, just make sure you put your USB on top. That way you can boot into your Ubuntu media. Okay, we are now in Ubuntu. Just remember, you can try out Ubuntu. Let's say you exit out of here. You can see the menu, you can see the options. You can try Ubuntu without installing it. This is basically, we would be booting from the USB and using Ubuntu. In this case, we are booting off of the USB and we are trying out Ubuntu. Now, if we want to install it, we have to go here into install Ubuntu. So that's what we're going to do. Just know the difference. Let's go to install Ubuntu. So if you want to try it out without installing it for a while, you can do that. So I'm going to do English. I'm going to do next. English US. Do not connect to the internet. Interactive. Default selection. Install third party for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware. Okay, and in here we can select how to install our Ubuntu. This is a quick and easy option. You install Ubuntu alongside Windows, or you can do a manual installation. Basically, if you go here, you're going to be able to see the drive here. My preferred drive is going to be the NVMe. This one is the eMMC on my computer. It's slow. I don't want to use it. And this is I think this is the USB. This is my NVMe, and I have my boot manager. I have some space here. This is my C drive. This is the space that we shrunk before, in which we decided to leave the unallocated space for the Ubuntu image. Now, this is the NTFS. I think this is recovery or something, but we can select this one, press plus, and we can create an ext4 and install our bootloader. But if you want to go the easy way, you can just click here and it'll do everything by itself. Now, okay, just know you will have to put a password there so that you can go on. You finish this out for your account. You go next. Set up your nearest location to your address. Next. And let's see here. So, it tells us how it's going to install this Ubuntu image. NVMe on 1, default selection, none, partition for boot EFI, NVMe formatted as ext4, and we'll do install. And we'll check everything to make sure that it is working, and then we'll see some extra stuff if we want to work with partitions or something else. Okay, so it says the installation is complete, so we're going to do restart now. Okay, we've removed the USB with the Ubuntu image and press enter. Okay, now we want to make sure that our system is still working, right? So my system is not sharing the image, so I'm going to record it with my camera. Okay, and we have a successful boot into our Windows environment. Let's quickly check our partitioning system, see what it looks like. Okay, so we want to go to our disk management. We are seeing right now healthy primary partition right here. We see the one that is for Linux. Obviously the system doesn't recognize it, so we're not able to mess with it. We can't even see the properties. So we can see our C, our EFI system, and our recovery, and this is our Linux partition. Now we want to turn off our computer. Okay, we turn on our computer, and we're going to select Ubuntu. It basically says that it was successful. Welcome to Ubuntu. Complete your setup. Get up and running in no time. And we're going to go next, and we want to skip for now with Ubuntu team, next, and then finish. And then now you don't see the install Ubuntu here. Now you don't see the install because it is already mounted and installed. So now we have an actual Ubuntu system on our computer using that partition. Okay, make sure you're connected to the internet, and on the App Center, you're going to find a lot of free application, web browsers, Word, alternatives, games, development, Visual Studio Code. You have a lot of stuff to choose from. I want to install an application. Okay, now we want to see if we have a Gparted on our system. And we do. We access it and we can see our partitions here. We can select here our drives, and we have just selected our NVMe drive. And you can see here we have our ext4 partition that we house Ubuntu. You can see here it's NVMe on one P5, this one right here. We can see here this one for the NTFS partition in Windows, and we can see how this is on the same drive, right? And we have a little bit of unallocated space, NTFS. We have the FAT32 EFI. Okay, so that was G-parted, and something. If you guys are not aware of how Ubuntu works, I mean, you have a lot of free stuff here with the App Center. You have Firefox. You can install different browsers, whatever you prefer. But it is a pretty nice system, and you can customize it as much as you want. Just know that you are gonna have to run commands to do some of the things. Like gparted was not in the App Center, so I had to do a few commands. It's not hard, and I was able to install gparted, and then now it's showing up on my menu here. You have utilities, different things you can use. You have the version of Windows that is like let's see, system monitor, and you guys can see your resources and how the system is using it. You can see the different cores. So now, we are officially in a dual boot system, and we can access Windows and Ubuntu just like I showed you right now. But I'm going to show you an extra thing that I think is going to come useful if you have to work with partitions. Okay, so let's pretend you want to increase the size of your partition here for Ubuntu, right? We would have to go first to Windows, decrease that volume size, and then we can increase it here. But in order to resize volumes, partitions in Ubuntu, we need to boot into the USB, into the live environment, so that it can unmount the partitions on the actual system here. So let's do that so you can see how it gets done. We're going to go and turn off this system. Boot into your Windows. You know where to go, disk management. Now, on disk management, if you want to increase this Ubuntu partition, you go here and you're gonna shrink the volume again. So I want to add another, let's say 20 gigabytes. So I'm gonna do 25,000 megabytes. And we have 24.41 gigabytes available, right? We just shrunk it, we go to exit, and we turn it off. FYI, you need your USB with the Ubuntu image. What I'm going to do is I'm going to boot into Ubuntu as a tryout feature. I'm going to connect my USB. I'm going to turn on my computer, and I'm going to boot to my USB. Try or install Ubuntu. And this is how we know we're in the Ubuntu USB, because it didn't ask us for a login. It just prompted us with the welcome to Ubuntu and the installation. Okay, exit out of the window. And now you are in the Ubuntu USB. And this is how you know this is the Ubuntu USB, right? What do you see here? Install Ubuntu. So you know it's not installed. So now, let me figure something out. Okay, so we have gparted here. We're going to select it, right? Okay, authenticate. Okay, so now we're on gparted. We go onto the NVMe. This is where we know we have our partitions, right? And we can see here we have our ext4, right? We know this is our Windows. This one on one P3, and then on one P5, partition 5 is the one for Ubuntu. And what do we see here? An unallocated partition with 24.4 gigabytes. Now, like I said before, you need to boot into the USB to resize partitions. So if I wanted to resize this partition, I can resize it, and look at this. I could move it all the way here, and you can see what happened. New size would be 425,000 megabytes. Let's resize it. Might cause your operating system to fail to boot. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we have 415 gigabytes. We had like 390. So you can see that you can actually move those partitions this way if you want to make it larger or shrink it down. As long as you don't mess with anything critical, it's still going to boot and it shouldn't give you any problems. Okay, I forgot to apply all the operations. Just make sure you apply the operations because I didn't do it. I could have messed up there. So just make sure you apply those changes with the green check mark and it'll start the process. Okay, so we have the completed operations. We close, and now we have the new partition with 415 gigabytes. So now we can officially close, and we can turn off our system. We're going to power off, and there's other stuff you can do, right? But I wanted to show you this as an example for partitioning specifically. This could be a separate video, but I thought I could include it here for entertainment and informational purposes. Selecting Windows Boot Manager. Refresh. Okay, so we saw something funny there. You saw it had the unallocated space, and I refreshed. You go to Action and then refresh, and it rescans the drive, and then now it found out that it's a little bit larger, 415 gigabytes. So you have here your C drive for your Windows and your Ubuntu partition. And basically, this is how you install dual boot on a computer and also partition the system if you want to change it. One day you want it to be shorter or larger, just go in and make that setting change, and you'll be able to do that as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're trying to do dual boot and something goes on, you don't understand something, definitely send me a message and I'll reply to you, and I will try to help you as much as I can. I always try to help out all my subscribers and even people that reach out to me. I don't have a problem in helping you out. Send me as many messages as you want. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's any remaining questions, just let me know. Okay, you all take care, and I'll see you on the next video.